Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Sisyphus record, self-titled. This is the self-titled debut album from what I assume will be kind of a one-off collaborative project from three musicians who you may be familiar with, one being Sufjan Stevens, two Serengeti, and three Sunlux, all of whom have collaborated before under the name S/S/S/S. And if you're familiar with the respective output of each of these artists, you know that each of them brings a different artistic expertise to the table. We have singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, composer Sufjan Stevens, who is known for some of the most infamous pop records of the art, indie, folk, and chamber variety. Sunlux is no stranger to art pop as well, but he is primarily an electronic music producer. And I know Sufjan has dabbled in this as well, on records like Enjoy Your Rabbit and Age of Odds, but admittedly these are not my favorite albums in his discography. And then we have singer and rapper Serengeti, a guy who occasionally releases music under a hilarious alter ego by the name of Kenny Dennis. And while his lyrical style does run pretty eccentric sometimes, I've never really been a huge fan of his output. So, for whatever reason, the stars have aligned and put these three on a collaborative trajectory that not only had very little of a chance of appealing to me, but I think also had a massive chance of going horribly wrong. However, I was pleasantly surprised to hear that a lot of the time this record goes horribly right. This album is spontaneous, it's enjoyably absurd. A few of the tracks on here are kind of muddled, and maybe one should expect that given how wide of a musical spectrum these three guys are covering together. And of course, this record as a whole isn't too cohesive, but the highlights, the good parts of this album alone make this project worth listening to. For one, the song Calm It Down that opens this LP up, it has a really bare hip-hop beat, booming bass on this thing. And Serengeti rapping over this rhythm, urging listeners to calm it down when they feel like fucking shit up, or burning stuff, or hurting themselves or someone else. I love the somber keyboards on the chorus of this track, and the explosive halfway point of this song, and the really beautiful vocal bridge that Sufjan Stevens brings to the table. It's a very wonderful change of pace for this song, and a really fantastic way of finding common ground between these two very different styles of music, or at least what we perceive to be different styles of music. It's songs on here where I see very clear contributions from each of these three musicians, and when I say clear contributions, I mean pieces of music that very clearly play to the strengths of each individual person. It's these tracks that I think go over the best on this LP, like Rhythm of Devotion, which has this fantastic, lovely, robot-voiced chorus that sounds a little Daft Punk-esque. I love the absurd and energetic bars from Serengeti, and the huge vocal harmonies on the finish of this track are wonderful. I love the linear structure of this song. It just progresses through one idea after another. The song Lion's Share is stellar too, which oddly enough is a little rap tune that's very funky, very danceable, and is about two bank robbers. I love the soft voice chorus from Sufjan and the sort of ridiculous refrain that Serengeti brings to the table about dance with the booty in your pants, booty, money, 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 money. For as ridiculous as this song is sometimes, it's a really thoughtful and well-assembled track. It's a great hip-hop and pop blend. It's a song that, while lyrically and flow-wise kind of reminds me of an old-school hip-hop song, sonically it just feels so progressive and futuristic. Then there's the song Alcohol that closes this LP out. It's a weird, off-kilter, kind of dark track with these twisted, industrially tinged keyboards and beats that build toward a really epic finish. It seems like the more abstract and reckless Sisyphus gets, the less it cares about genre boundaries, the better the record gets. Even though I do think a lot of the songs on this LP are good fun, there are more serious and somber tracks on this release that go over pretty well as well. Like the song Take Me, which is a synthetically colored and very atmospheric ballad from Sufjan. It drags on a little longer than it needs to, but it's still very pretty, and I think adds a very essential piece of counterpoint to the more upbeat and sort of tongue-in-cheek tracks on this thing. Because this self-titled debut is a 50-minute long album. And then there's the song Flying Ace, which is just as lyrically abstract as many other tracks on here, but the song is uplifted with these beautiful orchestrations. Orchestrations that give the music and Serengeti's lyrics kind of a somber tone. I just wish it didn't end so abruptly, but it's tracks like this that really highlight the quality of Serengeti's poetry. And then there's the song Dishes in the Sink, which lyrically, Serengeti goes into a lot of imagery dealing with kind of a broken home, a divorce, separation, both parents, but especially the father kind of neglecting their child. It has one of the weirder endings on this LP, with the rap lyrics slowly just kind of fading out into nothingness, but it's still a very powerful, emotionally powerful highlight on the album. Overall, I really liked this thing. This was a really creative, fun, and risky album for Sunluck, Serengeti, and Sufjan. I don't love it, but I'm incredibly glad it exists. I'm glad it exists to show how all of the genres that get melded together on this record could potentially work and push one another into new expressions and appeal and context and power. I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this thing. Transition. If you've given this record a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, Sisyphus, forever.